The sun burned against the glass towers, turning the streets into shimmering rivers of heat. Ethan Walker hurried toward the most important interview of his life, until a young woman in a red dress collapsed before him, shattering his focus in an instant. If you believe in compassion, hope, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories. Let's begin. The city heat shimmered along Weston Avenue, rising off the pavement like waves as Ethan Walker hurried forward. His only pressed white shirt clung to his back, though he tried to keep his posture confident. Today was too important for nerves. He clutched his resume, a stack of papers he had rewritten so many nights that he almost knew it by heart, and repeated answers silently to himself. This interview could change everything: steady income, a chance to grow, maybe even the beginning of a life where stress didn't stalk him from paycheck to paycheck. He imagined stepping into the office with a handshake and leaving with hope. But destiny, as always, arrived without warning. As Ethan stepped off the curb, a flash of red caught his eye. A young blonde woman in a red dress stumbled into the crosswalk, knees buckling before she collapsed onto the scorching pavement. People passed her by, barely glancing her direction. Ethan froze for a heartbeat, just long enough to feel a choice forming, then ran toward her. Her breaths were shallow, her fingers trembling as she tried to steady herself. She whispered her name, Chloe, and confessed she hadn't eaten since the previous day. Ethan eased her from the blistering sun, offering water, helping her breathe, and speaking softly until her panic faded. Minutes slipped away, one after another, marking the slow unraveling of the opportunity Ethan had been preparing for. Yet he didn't move. All that mattered in that moment was the frightened young woman who needed someone to care. When Chloe finally regained enough strength to stand, Ethan called her a ride, making sure the driver understood she needed to get home safely. Only when the car pulled away did Ethan exhale, a mixture of relief and dread, and sprint toward the company building. Inside the gleaming lobby, he apologized breathlessly, explaining everything in one long, rushed sentence. The receptionist listened with compassion but delivered the words he feared most: the interviews were over, the hiring manager had left, and nothing could be changed. Ethan stood still for a long moment, the cool air prickling against his skin as disappointment washed over him. He managed a faint smile, thanked her for her time, and walked back outside. The sun felt harsher now, and each step away from the building felt heavier, as if the future he hoped for had slipped silently out of reach. Life returned to its usual grind without mercy. Ethan woke before sunrise to mop warehouse floors, delivered packages through crowded streets, then sorted inventory at a dusty storage facility until his back ached. He told no one what he had done or why he missed the interview. There was no victory to share, only a quiet ache he tried to bury beneath routine. He didn't regret helping Chloe, not once, but he mourned the opportunity he had lost. Some nights, he replayed the moment in the crosswalk and wondered why no one else had stopped. Why kindness always seemed so small compared to ambition. Why doing the right thing so often came with silent consequences. Bills piled up. His hope dimmed. Still, he reminded himself, he would rather be a man who stopped than one who walked past. A week later, just after finishing a delivery shift, Ethan's phone buzzed. He considered ignoring it, unknown numbers usually meant scams, but answered anyway. A polished voice introduced herself as Madeline Shore, executive assistant to the CEO of Western Industries, the very company he thought he had lost forever. Her tone was professional yet unusually warm. She informed Ethan that the CEO requested an immediate meeting with him, not an interview, but a personal appointment. Ethan stood frozen on the sidewalk as traffic blurred around him. Confusion and cautious hope tangled in his chest. Within an hour, he was on a bus heading downtown, clutching his resume like an anchor as he replayed every possible reason for such a call. Western Industries' top floor felt like another world, quiet, polished, full of sunlight. Ethan stepped into the CEO's office, and his breath caught. By the windows stood Richard Bennett, the powerful CEO, and beside him, Chloe, radiant and healthy, her red dress replaced by business attire but unmistakably the same woman he had helped. Chloe smiled softly, gratitude shining in her eyes. She recounted everything he had done for her, how he stayed with her when strangers ignored her, how patient he had been, how he made her feel safe when she was terrified and alone. She explained that security footage from the street had helped identify him because she insisted on thanking him properly. Richard Bennett listened, his expression thoughtful. Then he turned to Ethan with a seriousness that made the room feel still. "Skills," he said, "can be taught. But character, that is rare." He offered Ethan a higher coordinator position, complete with training, benefits, and room for long-term growth, far better than the entry-level job he originally applied for. Ethan felt his throat tighten as the weight of the moment settled in. A week ago, he believed he had lost everything he worked for. Now, because of one moment of compassion, his entire future had shifted. Chloe thanked him again, promising that she would never forget the stranger who chose kindness over ambition. Richard shook Ethan's hand firmly, welcoming him to the company. As Ethan walked out of the building, sunlight stretched across the pavement like a path newly offered. He had sacrificed an opportunity, only to gain one far greater. And the narrator reminds us of a truth we often overlook. Sometimes the door that closes is the one never meant for us. Sometimes the quiet kindness we give returns in ways we never expect. Ethan's life changed not because he chased success, but because he stopped when no one else did. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe to keep more unforgettable stories coming.